I find people who talk about their past, how they have gone through a profound spiritual transformation, is actually like a profound teaching itself.
I felt I needed an adventure, or something like an adventure. Probably I was about 27 years old at that point. I was beginning to feel some strong inner feelings of discontent. And at that point I met some Japanese architect students, and they invited me to come to Japan for 3 or 4 months. And so in the end I decided not to leave and go back to the architectural school. I would stay a few more years. I also met a woman, Yoshiko, became my wife, and we spent about 12 years together. She taught me about silence, actually. So she was my kind of Zen master. So suddenly from, the right side of the stage of my life, existence stepped in. I went to meet this German professor, and he was wearing orange clothes, and he had beads around his neck. And on the beads there was a photo that looked like Karl Marx. I thought it was Karl Marx, but it turned out to be Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh. We started talking about all kind of spiritual stuff. And this is where existence absolutely stepped in and completely changed my life. I had gone to London, or gone to England with Yoshiko. We went to Paris, and the idea was we have a little honeymoon in Paris and then fly back to Tokyo. So that was the plan. When we went to the airport to fly back to Tokyo, they announced at the airport that the plane was delayed. It gave us a new ticket, which was Air India. So we got on the plane, and when we got towards Delhi airport, I said to Yoshiko, well, maybe we just get down and have a few days holiday here. So that's what we did. And when we were in Bombay, we remembered that the ashram where Rajneesh was, and where my German professor friend, where he might be right now, was only a few hours on the train. So we decided to go and visit him. So I remember we arrived in the Bhagwan Sri Rajneesh ashram. It was a very strong moment, I can say. It was a very strong moment, because suddenly, spending a few days there, I started to feel very, very good. He was very charismatic. He was sitting on a simple stage in a white gown, and I found the whole thing very beautiful, actually. When I was still with Osho, I had rented some old rooms in a palace, in a Maharaja's palace. And when I came to live there, there was a big pile of rubbish in one of the rooms, and in it there was a picture of a man, naked, with beautiful eyes. And I thought, oh, it's very beautiful, beautiful photograph. And I put it behind the cupboard, but I didn't know who it was. Gradually it came out from behind the cupboard, got a new frame, it went on the wall. Somebody told me this is Ramana Maharshi, a famous Indian saint. And gradually I found out he had a teaching, who am I? Suddenly, Osho had died. That was a kind of very strong moment. I stayed actually 1 or 2 years more in the ashram. I was ready for some other step. And at that moment, I heard about Papaji. And then a close friend came back. Don't you see how identified you are with the idea of being somebody? Can't you see it? Can't you see it? And I completely couldn't see it. So I somehow felt inside me, I have to go and meet Papaji. I stepped off the rickshaw, and then I looked up, and there he was. He was walking down to the gate. I was walking towards the gate, and we just met at the gate, as if it all been planned somehow. It was just like an amazing meeting. And then the question, in a way, was, what am I going to do? And he had suggested that I run a guest house. Nearly for 4.5 years, I think I ran this guest house. I got a message one morning that I should go and film the Indian masters before they pass away. And after a few years, I had interviewed 16 masters, and I published a book called Blueprints for Awakening. It was interesting. I came from India finally. It felt like the time, it's time to come back to Europe. I didn't know what I was going to do, really. But almost the day before I left India, I met somebody in the street, and he said, "Oh, if you go to Germany, get in touch. I'll arrange a meeting for you." Well, there was a big spiritual festival in those days in Baden-Baden. And a man with a beard, looking a lot like a Sufi master, came to me and invited me to his farm. And over the 2 weeks, 50 people showed up. It was very energetic. Everybody was very happy with what happened. And we started a community. I think nearly everybody came. I think we had about 20 people quite quickly. And for 2 years, we had a community there. So now we've been in this hit-off building, 17th century mansion. We've been here now for 13, 14 years. But everybody who comes to this house or this community feels that there is a kind of energy field here, which often they call love, that there's a great love here. The teaching is the life. It's not separate from the life, So it's a very intense kind of teaching that goes on 24 hours every day. And so we've been a community of 20 people. Somehow by living together, we're constantly acting like mirrors to each other. And now it's more about living the moment now.